Do we know what we're doing? No. Are we going to do it anyway? Yes. This is First Time Energy. Welcome back to First Time Energy. I'm your host, Alex Broxma. Welcome back to the podcast where we normalize awkwardness, try new things, and discover that adulthood is mostly just agreeing to responsibilities with absolutely no qualifications. Today's episode is relatable for parents everywhere because we are talking about becoming a voluntold coach, which is when someone casually says, hey, if no parents volunteer to coach, there's not going to be a team. And suddenly you, a person with no whistle, limited sports knowledge, and no emotional readiness are Googling basic youth basketball drills at 11:30 p.m. Today, I'm joined by my friend Chris, who became a parent coach because, like many parents, the options were basically coach something you've never done before or watch your kid not get to participate. No pressure, right? We're talking about learning as you go, the fear of letting kids down, wrangling chaos disguised as youth sports, parent pressure, and realizing children somehow have limitless energy, absolutely no attention span, and complete confidence all at the same time. So please help me welcome Chris Terrakina, fellow realtor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Good.
having me on. Happy to be here.
I was so excited when I was thinking about topics, and I thought sports, coaching, all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure Chris became my son's basketball coach out of necessity for his own son. And I asked you about it and you were like, let's go.
Yeah, happy to talk about that. I've got a lot of experience with it.
Now you have the experience, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, I'm going to go really quickly into what I call a first time check. It's super easy, low pressure. I would just like to know, have you ever been on a podcast before?
I have.
How was the experience?
Pretty great. I mean, just chatting it up with Ann Roshar. So what's not
I
to,
love Anne.
yeah,
I was on Anne's podcast and I actually just recorded with her the other day. And we went well past the timed limit I try to set for myself because she's just
easy to
fun
do.
and easy. She's so fun and easy to talk to. We talked a lot about Bravo. I don't know how you feel about Bravo TV.
I am I watch it quite a bit with
You
Sally.
do?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I know we like the
she
same
likes
TV
to
shows.
watch, and I don't put up much of a fight when she turns
Okay.
on some of those shows. Below Deck.
I love Below Deck.
Kind
I
of a
love Below
guilty
Deck.
pleasure of mine.
That also started as a guilty pleasure for me. That was kind of, I don't want to say that was my whole introduction to Bravo TV, but Below Deck is definitely
Yeah, the housewives stuff I usually tune out for that if that's on.
they're
In
just
fact,
yelling at each other anyway.
yeah, we're kind of to the point where she probably doesn't turn that on if I'm around, but Below Deck, honestly, I really got into Bravo with Top Chef.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Actually, I kind of forgot that existed.
I know, it's a good one.
Is it still on?
Yeah, so Padma's no longer the primary host.
Yeah.
Kristen Kish is, and she's still great.
Okay.
But
They're in their 78th season or something at this point?
oh yeah, like 25, something like that. It's crazy.
Well, okay, that was a fun little segue. I thought we were going to get into Apple TV because you and I watch a lot of the same Apple TV shows. So
Yeah.
anyway, but okay, well, good. Now I can bend your ear about Bravo next time I see you in person. So I brought you in today to talk about being voluntold coach.
Yeah.
Your son and my son are close in age, go to the same school, and you are a fellow realtor, which is how I believe I met you. I kind of crossed the lines of, did I meet you in real estate or did I meet you as coach and then put the real estate pieces together? But mostly I know you from the school and
Yeah.
being the coach. How does that happen? I've never
Becoming a
agreed to this.
coach?
So yeah, how did that happen for you? Specifically, let's talk about basketball.
So I played basketball growing up, so I am comfortable with the sport. I was a varsity basketball official for 8 years, so I've been around it for a long time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm still a high school football official as well. So I've been doing that for 13, 14 years. Yeah, I did basketball for 8 years because I just like being around the game. And then I stopped doing it in 2020 because of COVID, and we had 2 boys at home now, and wanted to spend more time at home because as an official, the basketball commitment is 2 to 3 nights a week driving around eastern Iowa in the winter.
Fine.
Not a great use of time when you have a couple kids at home. So yeah, I took a step back at that point, and I knew that my boys were going to start to be in those types of activities. And I wanted to be a part of that and not miss out on them. So I did. I remember registering my oldest for basketball, and they have a question: "Are you interested in coaching?" And
Hard pass for me.
so I said yes, but I made it very clear that I thought that I wanted to be an assistant coach.
Okay.
And I've kind of joked around that in the 4 or 5 years since then, I have always put I would like to be an assistant, but somehow I always end up the head coach with assistants. So I haven't been able to figure out what these other parents are putting down on their registration forms that I'm not.
We don't put anything.
Yeah.
We don't agree in any capacity.
Yeah,
You
so I
don't hint
sort
at
of
the
I
interest.
halfway walked into it, yeah, but
I can tell. I was going to tell you should ask like ChatGPT, what verbiage could I use to avoid being selected as the primary coach? But I'm here to tell you, just don't write anything.
yeah,
And then
I
they
thought
come and they
assistant was
go.
enough. Yeah.
And now they'll come to you and they go, does anybody want to be coached? Right. And then you could be like, assistant.
Yeah. Nope, I've tried it every time, and I am so far 4 plus my youngest is playing now too, so actually maybe 5
Love that.
5 seasons of head coaching under my belt.
So is that a fake it till you make it situation? When you are like, I would like to be the assistant coach. I have some experience officiating and playing,
Mhm.
but is it then still fake it till you make it?
As far as coaching a
Yeah, head coach.
kindergarten, first grade basketball team?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, 'cause at that point too, they just need parents to help lead these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is intimidating at first because, to your point, like in your introduction, as soon as I found out I was the head coach, I'm looking up basketball drills.
How
And
to
then,
run in a straight line.
yeah, well, and then you get to, like I said, a kindergarten or a first grade basketball practice, and you realize like none of these drills are going to work because at that point they don't have the skill set. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to even scale it back to the most basic fundamentals, which are fun to teach, but also then it comes back to attention span.
Right.
45 minutes for kindergartners is about as much as you're going to get. You're even lucky if you get to that. So yeah, I'm definitely more comfortable now than I was in my first year, but even now it's as the boys are progressing in their skill with their peers, I'm constantly like my Instagram feed is a lot of basketball drills.
Your
The-
FYP.
yeah, the
I
algorithm
made
has
the
figured me
mistake of
out.
saying for you page, and my 12-year-old was like, it's FYP. I was like, oh my God, okay, sorry. I think this program, if I recall correctly, was YMCA.
Yep.
When you were coach.
Yep.
And I absolutely agree with you. Like discovering that young children and what structure they need to get through some of those experiences. When Royce started basketball, I learned in his first season, so he was in kindergarten or first grade, and I learned we could no longer buy him athletic shorts with pockets because he would put his hands in his pocket and not have his hands available for the basketball.
Oh yeah.
Like
We just went through that with Brady's kindergarten team. I was co-coaching with another parent, a fellow friend, and both our boys were on the team. But yeah, we had a couple kids with pockets, and they just walk around with 2 hands in pockets, and it's like you can't play basketball that way.
Do you guys watch Bluey in your household at all?
Yeah, I say that with a half sad tone because
Oh
I
no.
do think my boys are starting to age out of it a little bit.
No, you just keep playing it. You just keep
I
playing
think
it and keep playing it.
I think I'm more devastated about it than they are because I love Bluey.
Do you know the episode by title Housework?
I think so.
Okay, so for the listeners who don't have young children or have had young children but maybe are not up on today's TV shows, there is a cute animated show on Disney Plus called Bluey, and it is about a family of blue healers, and it's fantastic. It's a show that parents can relate to, kids can relate to, and there's one episode, and when I say parent relatability, there's an episode called Whale Watching, where the parents are hungover after a New Year's party, and the kids are like, play with us. And they're like, let's play whale watching. And the parents just lay around, and one's a boat and one's a whale. But the episode I was thinking about, I always relate back to basketball when I think about Royce, is in that like first couple seasons in Housework, the dad is like, I'll get up off the couch and clean when one of the two kids just walks a normal walk across the doorway in front of us. And every time the kids walk back and forth and they're like doing some skip or jump or whatever. But that's how Royce was too on the basketball court. He would run one way, he would hop back the next way, he would skip the next way. And this is why I don't ever volunteer for coaching.
I've had, in addition to various leg movements like skipping and all that, you also have kids who are just like, looking up at the ceiling, or at our YMCA, the downtown one, there's a track up above.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had kids just stop to watch people running. Like I had one kid who this past season, I remember he was looking up at the track and a ball literally like bounced over and hit him in the shoulder and like in his back because he wasn't paying attention. But also, like, you don't get upset about that because what are you going to do to keep a kindergartner's focus?
Right.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of different methods to get around the court.
So do you feel at the young age, do you feel pressure from the parents?
Not at the super young age. I think they were just happy that their kids were tied up for an hour, because we all want them to burn energy. Like half the time I would just start the practice with running, like wind sprints, just to get them tired. And then you say, if I should say not my favorite, probably my least favorite response was, if the kids aren't listening, I would threaten them with, hey, we're going to get on the line and run. And they'll be like, yeah, let's do it. So that would totally backfire, right? And I
love suicides.
Yeah. And no, I couldn't use that as punishment because they wanted to run. I think at the younger ages, kindergarten, first grade, there's almost more, everybody's introductory, right?
Right.
You still have a variance in skill level, but there's still, it seems like the kids might be more interested in learning and focusing almost. And then as you get to the third and fourth grade ages, I think that it's still developmental, obviously, but you start to see a little bit more of a gap developing with skill sets.
Right.
So some kids will advance much quicker than others. And I do feel like we had a season where, I think with Royce, we had a really good season. And I coached 2 sessions that year, I remember. And I think we lost 1 game out of both those sessions. So as a coach too, you feel pretty good. It's like, man, I must be doing something right. And then this past season, we had a YMCA session where we didn't win a single game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say there was pressure from the parents. They were all great. They were all supportive. But I was trying to, in that league, I was really trying to include everybody and make sure everybody had a shot at bringing the ball up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want all of the kids to be engaged.
Yeah.
And I think the first game we lost like 42-6 or something.
I feel like that's the only outcome under like third grade.
Yeah. It was, so we just got annihilated, and it was my fault. And one of the parents of one of our better players, I was frustrated with myself, really. I was like, man, I don't know how to get these kids to learn how to dribble the ball up and protect it. And one of the parents kind of said, maybe all the kids shouldn't be bringing the ball up the court.
Oh,
And
ouch.
but then I was like, you're absolutely right. Like I
But remind me what age this is again.
3rd and 4th grade.
Well, it's still YMCA, yes?
It is.
Because Royce went into Junior Warriors
Mm-hmm.
after his season with you. And which I love. I absolutely 100% love the concept of junior whatever school because
Mm-hmm.
the kids are getting to start playing with their friends, classmates, teammates who they, in theory, if no one moves, they're going to continue to move from 3rd through 12th grade together and
Yep.
grow these skills and become amazing teams, right? Now, that is like AAU tier 1.
Yeah.
Is what I've learned. But like people take it really seriously. So like if you only want to drive within a 30-minute drive of your house to go play games, that's the league you sign up for. And there's a lot of people, I think, even from a cost standpoint, who are like, well, this is affordable. I'm going to do this option. But they treat it like they're on their way to the pros.
Sure. Yeah.
So at the YMCA level, and we need coaches everywhere, and those programs all serve a purpose and a great purpose for athletes just like learning the skill. But the YMCA level is not where I would expect to be like, come on, coach,
Yeah.
play the. I'm sorry.
Well, I totally get that point. And I think what happened though was I took it more as like constructive criticism, right? Not even necessarily criticism, just sort of like an awakening of.
Well, that's good for you. I'm defending you regardless.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you have to look at when I looked at the scoreboard and realized we just got our teeth kicked in. The kids, the big thing too is not only do I want them to be engaged, I want them to have fun. And no kid likes to lose by 40 points.
That's
And
fair.
so that's when I realized too, a way to pivot to that is everybody can be involved, but not everybody needs to bring the ball up the court.
Okay, yeah.
So I had 3 or 4 kids on that team who were good ball handlers who I felt comfortable doing that. And we still had turnovers, sure, but at least we could get it across the court then and get some shots up as opposed to stopping at half court and turning the ball over every time and the other team's got a breakaway layup. So I was happy to make that adjustment because I realized in order for the kids to have fun, I need to teach everybody what their strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to have much closer games.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we did. We had some much closer games and it was more enjoyable for everybody. But to your point about just pressure from parents, I'll go back to my officiating days. And I want to be careful saying this, but like when I was officiating, I did varsity basketball. I also did some junior high stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And at that level, I learned pretty quickly that the younger the kids, the worse the parents. And that's not
in what capacity?
Well, so it's, and I almost
asking
think,
for a friend.
Yeah, I almost think it's not as bad in the early youth basketball, right? Like kindergarten through elementary school, it's not too bad. But once kids start getting involved with AAU or these junior school teams, right? Which I want my son to be involved with as well. But that's where the competitiveness ramps up. And what I found from my officiating days, which I'm trying to prepare myself for as we enter that stage of hoops, is every parent thinks their kid is the next LeBron James. And it's just not the case.
My kid tells me he is, therefore I believe.
Yeah. And he might be. But for the vast majority of kids,
my
in that
kid's going to be
group,
like a Larry Bird.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Hey, we could use another Larry Bird. That'd be great. But yeah, I think that's where a lot of the pressure comes when you get into the more AAU traveling teams. Every parent wants their kid to be the star. And if you can't recognize that they might not be, that's where we run into those issues with these types
I
of
think
things.
that's interesting that you say it that way because, again, I was asking for a friend, of course, not because it would pertain to me, but we as a junior parenting section, I remember we went to one game, not this last season, but the one before, and officiant, what is it? A referee. I was like, wow,
Official.
what is that?
Not a wedding.
Official told us to shush because I would say I love our coach. We've had the same coach now for 2 years. Great guy, great with the kids. But parents, I feel like we were more frustrated with the coaching calls, right? And like I've never watched you, so I'm sure you get everyone just right, and no one
No.
could ever be mad at you. But it was like, how do you, as a parent? It's hard because you want to be excited about your team, and of course, like I want you to call that foul on my son so he can shoot anyway. But we got told to shut up.
By the ref.
Yes, which is fair. I mean, they did it politely, and we probably deserved it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But
I try to encourage the parents of my teams, and I'm lucky too. I've had great parents and kids on every team that I've coached. So it's it's kind of luck of the draw when it's just a registration in a random pool of kids, right?
right.
But I try to tell the parents to be supportive of the team, and remember we're there to encourage them and promote uh, development.
Yeah.
Like not every kid is ready to play basketball. Some of them it's their first time ever, so we want them to enjoy themselves. And I really try to coach the concept of being on a team, like
Mm-hmm.
how valuable that is. And
Yep.
like I just coached Cameron and Journey Sports, used to be Upward, this
Mm-hmm.
past winter, and I was really proud of our team, how they worked together. And I really instilled in them that when the season was over, hey, we worked together as a team, won a lot of games, had a lot of fun, but also you just made a bunch of friends from all over the place
Yes, I
who
love that part.
you're going to run into as we continue to grow here in town. And maybe you'll be on a team with them again, but if you're on another team, if you're playing against each other, it's going to be cool to say, oh, great to see you again, and you get to grow up with them. I remember doing that in town. And
It's kind of like real estate.
yeah, exactly.
It makes it a little less scary to play the other team when you know someone on it.
100%.
God, everything always comes back to real estate. Or maybe real estate goes back to everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
were there any moments so far through your coaching experience where you basically questioned everything and were like, I'm just done with this?
Yeah,
Have you had any of those moments?
I have. It was just, it was during one of our last YMCA seasons. We were just kind of struggling, and it was one of those, I think there were 2 practices where I had just completely lost all the boys. And by lost them, I mean they were not focused at all. Like none of them, they're all screwing around in line. They don't know what the drill is that I'm explaining. I might have one kid paying attention, but for the most part, they're just like slapping each other. And
The teachers gave them candy at the end of the school day and
yeah,
they're
or they're
like,
like,
bye.
yeah, or they're kicking balls off the wall, like stuff like that. And just no one's paying attention. And I remember I finally pulled out my dad voice, like, cause I'm really doing my best too, to be a coach and be supportive. Only one of these 10 kids is mine. So I try to not cross that line of,
Right.
okay, now I'm going to get firm. I had to get firm a couple of times where I call it my dad voice. Sally knows what it is for sure. And so do my boys. But when I just kind of have a breaking point where my voice suddenly gets deep and very loud, and, and, and they snap out of it pretty quickly. And then I feel bad. I'm like, man, am I losing it? But also, no, none of the parents are paying attention. They're all on their phones, which is fine. But so it's like,
Yeah.
I'm out here alone on this island and I need people to focus.
Right.
So that's where
I yell at
Yeah,
my kid during practices.
I had a couple of those
I'll
moments.
be like, stop fucking around. Like, because the other thing for me is I'm like, I paid for you to be here.
Yeah.
I took time out of my day to drive your butt here. Like, I'm sorry. I know you don't necessarily want to be here right now, but I asked you, do you want to do this? Yes, you said yes. Then commit to it.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
If you sign up for something, you got to stick it out. We tried cross country last fall. I was not the coach of that.
pass.
And, my oldest he wanted to try it because of some friends, and maybe wasn't his favorite thing that he signed up for. But,
Mm-hmm.
I kept telling him, hey, we signed up for it. We just got to keep
Yeah.
doing it and stick with it. And you know what? On the very last cross country meet, what I was really proud of was, his times were never like record breaking or anything, usually toward the back quarter of kids crossing the line. In the last meet, I said, just go for it. Just empty the tank, do everything you can. Like, this is the last one. If you want to do it next year, great. But you're going to get a break after this. And he beat his best time of the season by like 2.5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
like
I'm lucky if I beat something by 15 seconds when I'm running like a 3.1 in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and he just like kicked it into gear and crushed his time. And so that's where I was like, look, man, see, there was a lot of mental barrier in there too, where you just got to push yourself to do it. But yeah, sign up, stick with it.
Oh my gosh. I was going to ask you if your kids have expectations of you as the coach, because now you're the parent and the coach.
I feel like the expectation now is that I'm going to be their coach. Because I've always been their coach.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so they have not, other than baseball, because I can't throw a ball, I can't hit a ball, so I avoid that like the plague. But basketball I'm comfortable with, but they have not yet played basketball or soccer, for that matter, where I wasn't the coach. And
so they don't have they're not going into it going, gosh, I hope dad puts me in more because he's my dad.
No.
Because you've just always had the same coaching style from start to finish every time. That's actually great.
Yeah, well, I mean, so their expectation of me is more, well, aren't you going to be the coach? Because that's just what they know. And so eventually they'll have somebody else. But yeah, right now it's like, well, you're going to be the coach, right?
That actually led right into my next question, which was, at what point do you say, okay, I have to draw the line or tap out and say, I can't be the coach? Maybe it's skill-based, right? And to some degree, I would be like, yeah, okay, I can herd cats for 45 minutes for 3 years. But at some point, there's going to be a skill level I don't know.
Sure.
And I don't know how to coach. So, when is that for you? Do you know?
I don't, because eventually, yes, right? Like I think when they start playing for their schools, obviously I'm going to step aside. Fair. But this coaching journey where I, started coaching kindergarten ball and now I'm up to 3rd and 4th grade, kind of with the kids, I'm sort of growing with it, just like parenting, right? Like when Cameron was born, I was, just like when your oldest was born, it wasn't like, aha, I'm a parent, I get it. It's actually like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're sending me home with a kid. And so just like we grow and learn as parents, I feel like I've been doing that as a coach. So maybe I'm overconfident about it, but I do feel like with each season, it's like, okay, I've learned some things. I think I can do this again. Now, if I were to coach junior warriors, for example, which I would love to do, but if there's I also don't know what that dynamic is like when we start to go to tournaments and people have different expectations, right?
Well, yeah. And that's definitely where that switch gets flipped of, we would like to win games.
Yeah.
And I think our coach for the last couple seasons has done a really good job of helping the boys figure out what their strengths are, right? And then it comes more about running plays, like knowing what the play is. Oh my God, the amount of times I heard 42.
Oh man.
It's like we had 2 plays. I think it was 42 and 51.
I tried to, in the last league that we just did, I tried to come up with a play and quickly realized it was a 3rd and 4th grade team
Yeah.
and quickly realized that it was just too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting them to where they needed to be and the different movements. And that was on me. And then one
Yeah.
of the assistant coaches, she actually said, I have a pretty simple play that I run with my kids. And it's literally a screen and a back cut.
Okay.
And did we run it perfect? No. But when the kids got to their spots and when they did run it, it was a layup every time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So like when they got it, it was great.
It's like a win for everybody. It's a
But the
team win at that point.
consistency of getting it was not, it
Yeah.
wasn't there. So
That's hard.
yeah, plays will be tough. That I could see myself getting stressed out about that.
Well, look, you could start planning those now.
Yeah.
Gosh, shoot, there was something else I was going to ask you and it has lost my brain. Oh, earlier you said something about getting your teeth kicked in,
Yeah.
which made me just want to ask, has there ever been anything like funny or like surprising that's happened? Because I have watched kids lose teeth at YMCA basketball, like the ball bounces in their face, or like, what do you do in those moments? Do you like your parent kick in before your coaching side? What happens?
We actually had, 2 stories. One, a couple years ago, it was like the last year that Cameron played soccer. One of our teammates, the ball got kicked and hit him in the face. And then he didn't really react to it much, but then he walked across the field and brought me his tooth. And his mouth is bleeding. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And it's like, it got hit in the face. And so that was, I have seen that. Then like, I don't know, I had this one where a kid was upset that he came out of the game, which again, it's YMCA ball. So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get everybody equal time, right? And he set his water bottle down. He had like a Hy-Vee bottle of water,
Mhm.
and he set it down on its side and then stomped on it.
Oh, fun.
And so the cap shot across the court.
Mhm.
Water went all up and down my leg. And I remember I was more in shock and I just looked at him and I said, why did you just do that? And then I had to, toe the line between coach/dad, not my kid, and
Right.
just explaining like, buddy, that's not how we handle these things, and then I had to stop the game because the bottle cap went out across the court. There's water everywhere. That was a surprise, I guess I would say.
So I want to take a quick minute to ask, would you encourage other parents to take the chance? If you don't know anything and we have Google and ChatGPT at our fingertips and your kid wants to play something, is it worth saying yes to it if you've never done it?
Coaching or letting your kid participate?
Coaching so your kid can participate, right? I think that happens so often where the players are there, but they don't have enough coaches. And I think some of it is people feel, I don't have the skill. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, I'll tie it back to officiating. It keeps coming back to that. So there's a huge national shortage for sports officials. And if people don't get involved,
Mhm.
whether it's officiating or coaching, we're not going to have teams. Your kids can't participate. So yeah,
That's fair.
I do think, taking the leap, even if you don't have experience, grow with the kids, be open to getting feedback. At younger ages, it's really about exposure and development. It's not about making the next Kobe Bryant, it's just about
Right.
getting a kid to like it and learning to work as a team. That's
Yeah.
huge.
That's fair. And how did you get into officiating?
I was bartending at Red's Ale House in North Liberty.
Okay, shout out to
And
Reds. Love that place.
shout out, woo-woo,
They have a great happy hour.
the best in town. And one of our regulars,
You were a bartender? Like my
yeah,
I'm like looking at you, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Chris? Bartender?
oh yeah,
God,
Pretty-
I love
decently
this
in.
podcast. I'm not going to lie to you. Every time I sit down and talk to somebody or like try to come up with topics, I'm just learning that I know a ton of really cool, interesting people, and it's just been a fun experience. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
no, yeah.
Had to put that out there.
That's the great thing about talking to people is everybody has such a different journey, right? And how you
Mm-hmm.
got to, how did you get here? That's how I used to
Right.
interview people like for jobs was, what's your story? How did you get here?
Yeah.
That was the easiest way to start it out because I want to know, where'd you come from? What brought you to this moment? Anyways, so
That's
I
interesting.
I worked in restaurants for quite a while, and I was bartending down there, and uh, decided that, so I hadn't finished college. I actually went for a few semesters at Iowa, was doing really poorly, and stepped away for like 6.5 years. And yeah,
Hold on. Stepped away for 19 years.
there you go. Well, so I stepped away for a while, and I was just working and doing what I could to live really, and just figure out what I wanted to do. And eventually, once Sally and I were engaged, I realized bartending was fun, but I wanted to go back to school to try to finish. And that's when I went back to Iowa to study recreation and sport business.
Okay.
Technically, my degree is a Bachelor of Science in Leisure
Uh-huh.
Studies. So
Okay.
it's a BS in Leisure Studies, which I get a good kick out of, but also entrepreneurial management. And so I really enjoyed it when I went back. Anyways, I was bartending. One of our regulars was a high school official, and I mentioned to him that I was going back to study rec and sport business, and he just said, "Have you ever thought about officiating?" And I was like, "No, never." I was probably, gosh, what would it have been, 26 years old, something like that.
Okay.
And I said, "Nope, never crossed my mind. I like sports."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, our football rules meetings are about to start up. I think you should." He's like, "Why don't you just join me and check them out with the association?" And he's like, "It's free to show up. You don't, you can just ask questions.
Yeah.
You can kind of be a sponge." And I remember the very first meeting I went to was with the Iowa City Area Officials Association. Shout out ICAOA.
I
I had
see.
no idea what I was doing down there, but I showed up, and the first meeting that they do, everybody goes around the room and introduces themselves, and they, you've got guys in there who've been officiating 30 plus years, 40 plus years, like big time,
A
long
long
time
time.
officials, right? Because once you're in it, you kind of stick with it. That's the goal, right? Retention. And I remember when I introduced myself and said, "This is my first meeting," they all just stood up and started cheering and clapping.
Really?
And they did that there were a handful of us, and they did that for everyone who was brand new. And that's where I was like, "Oh, this is a pretty cool place to be."
That's actually so supportive.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so when you are around people like that, just like anything, who will support you and
Mm-hmm.
like encourage you, it's contagious. You want to be around that. And I remember the first couple of football games I did, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm so in over my head. You got to take a rules test every year, but even after that first one, it's like drinking from a fire hose, no idea what's
Yep.
going on.
Yep.
But what I did football because I wanted something to get used to, like the whistle confidence, basically.
Okay.
Before I started basketball. Basketball was like, "Oh,
Okay.
that's what I really want to do." But football is what I fell in love with, the
Okay.
officiating part of it, because they're a little bit bigger crews, Friday night lights. At the time when I started, there were a lot more grass fields.
Yeah.
Now I think 99% of them are turf, which are nice, but the
Yeah.
grass field, when it's freshly cut and the lights are on and it's fall, and it's 50 degrees out, and there's stands on both sides are packed.
Yeah, but basketball's inside. I'm a nature person and I like outdoor sports, but basketball's inside.
Yeah, so in basketball, the big difference too is, here's the big difference between football and basketball officiating. Basketball, everyone, coaches, parents, are much closer to you. Like they're right
Mm-hmm.
on top of you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you blow your whistle in basketball, you need to know right away
What happened?
what you just blew your whistle for.
That's fair.
In football, it's play by play. And if I throw my flag, there's a high probability that it doesn't kill the play. Like you don't blow the play dead,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's a pre-snap infraction in which you'd stop it then. But once the ball's snapped, you don't throw the flag and kill the play. So you have time to process it. And
That's
then
fair.
we all
I
have,
actually really like that.
yeah, we all have walkie-talkies too. And so we have a 5-man varsity crew that I love being on. These guys are like, we're really close. I've been on this crew for 8 or 9 years. And so we learn each other's tendencies and our techniques and our coverages. And so when we throw flags, we get on the mics and we're able to communicate really clearly, like, this is what I saw, this is how I saw it. And we work together on what we're going to relay to our white hat, to our head referee, so he can make the announcement. And it's not just, I don't know, the teamwork and camaraderie of it. To me, it's addicting. I love being out there with those guys, and
You almost have me sold
you should do it.
on committing to it. No, I'm not going to do that. I have my hat, my too many irons in the fire. Is that what they say?
That is what they say.
Yeah, I've got a lot of things.
We need officials. You should think about it.
Let me think about it. No.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually really cool, though. I had no idea that I actually learned a ton of stuff here in the last couple of minutes because I didn't know that you worked in restaurants. I just have more questions. The next time I see you, be prepared for more questions. Okay.
Will do.
Show up to the next meeting 10 minutes early.
Got it.
I'm going to take us into commit or cancel. So I told you at the beginning, we're going to do a quick little rapid fire game. And I'm going to read you some statements and I just want you to pick commit or cancel.
Okay.
Okay.
So, like, if I'm committing,
they're topic appropriate. Yeah. So
okay.
Like, I'm going to commit to that. Yes, I can get behind it, or no, cancel. That's a trash concept.
And I don't need to explain it. I can just commit or cancel.
You don't have to. Now, some guests come in here and we get a far left conversations because we're like, oh, look at that. But to your discretion, okay?
Got it.
All right. So, would you commit or cancel to coaching a sport you barely understand? Let's pretend it's baseball. Actually, you just said you couldn't throw anything. What if it was like cricket? What if they're like, we need a coach for cricket?
I'm not good at sports with props.
Okay.
Okay. Don't mean to sidebar commit or cancel quick, but I have sort of a story with that.
Okay.
I would say commit, generally speaking, because it's an opportunity to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But so when I went back to school, my internship was with Big Ten Network and like their student youth program. So we would set up production for, women's soccer, field hockey, volleyball, stuff like that. And it would be streamed online for Big Ten Network, running the cables, play-by-play, announcing all that stuff. So, and you would rotate. So everybody got to do a little bit of everything. One of my first productions that we were a part of, it's a group of 15, 20 university students. I, for whatever reason, volunteered to be the color commentator of field hockey.
Okay.
And I had never watched a field hockey game in my life. And so, to your point of like signing up for something that you know nothing about. Well, fortunately, the guy I was doing it with, who was doing the play-by-play, he was familiar and could kind of lead me along. But I remember just like, oh, what a hit. I didn't know any terminology. I sounded ridiculous. I remember there's a picture somewhere that I took with the guy right before it started. My tie was all wrinkled. Like, I think I pulled it out of a pile somewhere.
This is before the fabric spray. Speaking of below deck.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Anyways, but yes, I would generally say commit, go for it. Give it a shot.
Okay. What about commit or cancel to whistles?
Hand whistles or like mechanical whistles? Like, what do you mean by whistles?
Do you like them or no? Yes or no? You're in for whistles or out? Don't overthink it.
Commit.
Commit. You found your whistle confidence. We're going to commit to the whistles.
Commit.
Commit or cancel to the politics of youth sports.
Cancel. I don't want any part of that.
How about parents yelling from the sidelines?
Commit.
Post-game snacks.
Commit. Yeah.
Googling drills 5 minutes before practice.
Better late than never. Yeah. Commit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Commit or cancel referees being public enemies.
Cancel.
How about...
I need to add to that.
Okay.
Because I'm an official, I talked about we need more officials and parents, especially in that middle school range.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of become a little unhinged, it seems. And I'm going to be that parent someday, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so just be mindful. I joke around sometimes, like, don't yell at the refs when people find out I'm an official. But seriously, like, focus on supporting the team and not bashing these men and women who are giving up, multiple hours of their free time for probably, at an AAU game, it might be like $25 a game.
Yeah.
So
no, I totally understand that.
I promise you, they do not have a rooting interest in that game. They're doing the best they can. They don't have they don't have replay, and it's just the speed of the game is so much faster when you're on the court. So give the officials a break. They're doing the best they can. They don't care who wins. Cheer for your team.
I love that. You know what? I was going to read you another one, but we're going to end on that one because that one's like the best.
Yeah.
That is the best. I was just about to ask you, committing or canceling to, we're all doing our best here. And you summed it up way better than that statement ever could. So
we're all doing our best.
Well, Chris, I am honored, honestly, to just learn so much about you because you are a fascinating person and you have an interesting history. Thank you so much for being a guest with me. I appreciate you taking on the challenge of being coach for my kid and several other of his friends. He loves basketball, and I know that is in part due to the coaches that he's had along the way, because there's some great coaches and then there's some not some great coaches. But yeah, thank you again so much for agreeing to come on the show with me.
Of course. Thanks for having me. And, thanks for being a supportive parent, because that's coaching's one thing, but having parents who, even my team that struggled, having parents who still bring their kids every single week and committing to that. And that's, they're part of the team too. So thanks for doing that. And
that's 45 minutes of daycare, Chris.
Yeah, for free. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up with this is how we do it. So this is how we do it when you feel unqualified, but people still need help. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I could never volunteer for something like that, you probably could. Most people just underestimate how much communities depend on ordinary people stepping up imperfectly. And this is how we do it when it feels like you are wildly underqualified. Step 1, stop assuming everyone else knows exactly what they're doing. They usually don't. A lot of people learn while they're doing it, they're improvising, and they're figuring things out in real time. That includes the coaches, leaders, parents, and volunteers. Step 2, focus on being helpful, not perfect. Kids do not need perfection. They don't need elite coaching, and they don't need flawless leadership. What they do need is encouragement, patience, consistency, and adults who are willing to show up. That matters way more than any expertise could. Step 3, accept that discomfort is part of growth. Your first practice might feel awkward. Your first attempt might feel messy, and that's okay. That means you're trying something new. Nobody becomes confident before experience. Confidence usually comes after surviving the awkward beginning. And lastly, step 4, understand that participation matters more than credentials sometimes. Communities work because ordinary people contribute, not because everyone is perfectly trained. Sometimes the most important thing you can say is, I'll help. The older I get, the more respect I have for people who are willing to try things they don't feel fully prepared for. I'm trying to be better about that myself, because most meaningful things in life start with, well, somebody has to do it. New experiences don't have to be so scary. Let's make them feel doable. Awkward is fine. We're doing it anyway. I will see you next time. If this made you feel even slightly better about your own first-time disasters, go follow First Time Energy.